How I grew my arms. I'm going to give you guys 3 tips that you can implement right now and you'll see significant growth in your arms. Now, when it comes to arms, I hate training arms, honestly. It's one of the muscles that I just don't enjoy training. I mean, the pump's nice, but it's so boring. I prefer, something heavier like chest or back. But in order for me to, get the kind of arms that I wanted, I had to increase my volume. I had to start hitting arms separately. Now, I used to do push-pull legs, I used to do full body, I used to do upper lower, and in those programs, sure, you're gonna hit arms and you're gonna still get the same amount of volume. But for most people, if you want big arms, so if arms are your weakness, then you have to start looking at training arms with more volume. And that brings me to my tip number 1, increasing your volume. That goes with any muscle. If you have a weakness in a muscle, I would recommend training it twice a week, increasing that volume. So start by training arms twice a week and hitting your arms in particular. If you're doing a program where you're hitting your arms along with chest or back, you can still do that, but I would still recommend having an arm day. Maybe on Sunday or a day where you're not training anything, have a day where you can just focus on your arms, having a separate arm day. Now, I don't recommend this to everyone, but if your arms are a weakness and you really struggle with growing your arms and you want big arms, then having a separate arm day along with training your arms in your usual routine, usually you'll see significant progress in your arms. For me, what I do is I'm training arms twice a week right now, and the progress that I've seen has been really good. Assuming that your diet, your nutrition, everything else is on point, I'm just talking about tips that you can use in the gym to grow your arms. So increasing your volume is one way of doing that. And that isn't necessarily just, increasing the amount of exercises you do. It's also increasing the amount of reps you do, increasing the amount of the sets you do in one particular exercise. I'm not a fan of trying out all these different types of exercises, whatever exercise you find online. I think that when it comes to arms or any muscle in general, it's good to stick to the basic exercises. They work. They are tried and tested. You don't have to do all these fancy new exercises. Stick to the basics and increase your volume. Add in an arm day. So that's my tip number 1. Now, my tip number 2 is you have to do a mixture of high reps and low reps. I have a lot of people ask me, do you recommend higher reps or lower reps if you want to build muscle? And the answer is, honestly, both. I implement both. I implement both high reps and low reps in my training. One isn't particularly better than the other. But when it comes to arms, I would recommend doing low reps with heavier weight on compound exercises. For example, with triceps, when it comes to something like close grip bench press, do heavier weight, but do lower reps. I would do somewhere around 6 to 8 reps of close grip bench, or even something like dips. I would, if you can do body weight dips, add in weight, get 6 to 8 reps, lower your reps on these compound exercises. For something like for something like biceps, I would recommend compound exercises like chin-ups are great compound exercises. Really squeezing your arms at the top of the movement as you do your chin-up really engages your biceps. Or even something like barbell curl. I feel like you can really go heavy on that exercise. But when it comes to isolation movements, such as rope tricep push down, or concentration curl or bicep curl, these types of exercises, I would say, focus more on lowering the weight and increasing the reps. I would do anywhere from 10 to 15 reps on these exercises, because it's all about contracting the muscles. You have to feel the muscle contract, and when it comes to isolation exercises, going heavier isn't going to make much difference. Obviously, you want to push yourself, but if your failure range is 12, there's no point you going super heavy and failing at like 7, 8 reps, which is another thing. I see a lot of people going super heavy in the gym. A lot of people going super heavy with ridiculously bad form. That's not going to do anything. You need to make sure that your form is correct and focus on the exercise itself. Focus on contracting the muscles. Apart from your compound moves, save all your heavy weight for that. But when it comes to these exercises, I like to not go super lightweight, but not too heavy where I can still contract my muscles. And obviously you still want progressive overload. You still want to get stronger and stronger over time, increasing the weight or increasing the reps. You want to make sure that you are still progressively overloading, which is a good indicator of you getting stronger, of you building more muscle. But form is really important. And that brings me to my tip number 3 is form is pretty much everything. Now, I see a lot of people in the gym, like I said, have the most ridiculous form, especially when training arms, because I think what happens is your ego kicks in and you want to lift heavy, you want to feel a good pump. But the truth of the matter is, I think I was watching one of Kai Green's videos, and Kai Green really preaches on this this particular idea of mind-muscle connection. Mind-muscle connection is everything. And I feel like that's also why I didn't like training arms as much. I mean, I enjoy it now. There was a big part of my life where I did not enjoy training arms. It was because it's so boring. Like with something like chest, something like back, you can go heavy, you can really feel the muscles, you can, you feel good when you're lifting heavy. But when it comes to arms, most of the exercises are isolation exercises, and it's all about the mind-muscle connection. That's all it is. You can still push yourself, but it's all about the form. But I've learned to sort of enjoy that process, enjoy that mind-muscle connection, and I've seen tremendous growth from that mind-muscle connection. So when it comes to the kind of exercises you should be doing, I think you don't have to be super fancy. Like I said, stick to the basics. Honestly, the only exercises that I pretty much do: rope tricep pushdowns, dumbbell bicep curls, concentration curls, dips, close grip bench. These are your standard exercises. I would say when it comes to arms, when it comes to triceps, let's start with triceps. Have a movement where your elbows are here. Have a movement where your elbows are here, like skull crush, and have a movement overhead tricep extension. Same with biceps. Have something where you're lifting it from your elbows up here. Have something where you're lifting your elbows up here. Get that full contraction. And have a movement where you're lifting it from back here. Something like an incline dumbbell press. And in that way, you're making sure that you're hitting everything. And form is everything. You want to make sure that your elbows are in. You want to make sure that you're not swinging the weight. If you feel like you're swinging the weight, unless it's a barbell curl, I feel like with barbell bicep curls, you can implement a little bit of cheating while still, feeling that muscle, cheating it to get it up and then focusing and slowing it down. But form is everything. And one trick that I really implement, one hack, is slowing down my negatives, especially with biceps, focusing on the squeeze, of course, and then really slowing it down and coming up again and slowing it down. This slowing down your negatives is such an underrated movement. You feel it a lot more. You feel the mind-muscle connection, and your arm progress will explode. Do all of these tips, all of these 3 tips, focus on form, focus on getting high reps and low reps, and increase your volume, increase the amount of, how many times you work out arms in a week. If you want a free workout guide and also a free, nutrition guide, I made a PDF on pretty much everything you need to know. If you want to follow the kind of workout split that I did, you can find my workout program in the description box down below. I also have a free guide on nutrition that tells you everything you need to know when it comes to food, when it comes to how to train, when it comes to my sweat, everything. You can check that out by clicking the link in the description box down below. But try these tips and your arm progress will explode. And the most important tip, which I haven't mentioned before, is that you have to have fun with it. You have to enjoy the process of training arms, and that's something that I've had to learn over time because I used to hate training arms. But you have to enjoy the process. Even if I hate training arms. I don't hate training arms, but I do it because afterwards, when you're pumped up and you're fully, you have the full arm pump, it feels good. So you have to enjoy, have fun with your training. Make sure you're having fun with your exercises, because a program that you don't enjoy, you're not going to stick to. So you want to make sure that you're implementing exercises that obviously aren't some kind of fancy new movements. No, find exercises that you like, that incorporate each part of your arm, biceps and triceps, and just do that. You don't have to do anything too fancy. You don't have to do anything too complicated. Keep it simple, stupid. That's all it is. So follow these 3 tips. This is how I grew my arms really fast. And they're still growing. I feel like every time I go to the gym, my arms look bigger, my pumps look bigger. So follow these tips, and I'll see you guys in the next one.